Okay, let's start. Assalamualaikum and good morning. Dengar kan? Okay. Assalamualaikum and good morning. I'm Dr. Nik Noliana Nik Ibrahim from Department of Chemical and Environmental Engineering, Universiti Putra Malaysia. Let's start our session with Ummul Kita Al-Fatihah. First of all, I would like to welcome all of you to this academic sharing series. This series is conducted by Department of Chemical and Environmental Engineering, Universiti Putra Malaysia, and aligned with Sustainable Development Goal number 4, ensure inclusive and equitability, quality education, and promote lifelong learning opportunities for all. In today's session, we will have a presentation from Associate Prof. Dr. Azidah Abu Ziden titled Transforming Class Exhibits to Research Materials. Before the presentation, allow me to introduce the presenter. Associate Professor Dr. Azidah Abu Ziden is the Deputy Director, Center of Development for Academic Excellence, Universiti Putra Malaysia. Universiti Sains Malaysia. Her interest is in instructional design, specifically in the e-learning environment, educational technology, ICT, multimedia, and mobile learning. Her expertise includes instructional design in learning management system and using Web 2.0 to enhance teaching and learning. Associate Professor Dr. Azidah is the recipient of Teaching Award for National Academic Award of Malaysia 2017. Without further ado, I would like to welcome Associate Professor Dr. Azidah Abu Ziden to deliver her speech. Okay, Dr. Azidah, the Zoom session is yours.
Alright, thank you, Dr. Nik Noliana. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And a very good morning, everybody. Alhamdulillah. We are here today, okay, for a sharing session on transforming class exhibit to research material. So I am Azidah Abu Ziden from USM. So I'm happy to be here. Let me just share my screen first. All right, I hope you can see my screen. Let me make it. Okay, all right. Let me stop my video so that I can save my data. Okay, actually I am in Kuala Terengganu at the moment. Mula-mula tu macam memang dah plan kan this dengan Dr. Dayang. Thank you Dr. Dayang for inviting me for today. Jadi dah plan without tak plan pun untuk ambil cuti, tetapi ada jemputan pula family dan all my adik-beradik berjumpa pada hari ini. So I said tak apalah, it's okay, I just continue the session while I am in Kuala Terengganu. Kita sebenarnya ada sesi meminang anak saudara hari ini semalam. So bukan meminang, membalas hantaran COVID ni kan. So ikut jugalah adik-beradik ke sini and it was okay, alhamdulillah. So done. So today bolehlah berwebinar bersama anda semua, alhamdulillah. So today I'm going to talk about transforming class exhibit to research materials. Okay, so actually I've been teaching in USM around 12 years, and I'm teaching ICT and multimedia for education, meaning that I teach the bakal guru or lecturers, okay, to use ICT in their teaching. All right. So, and it is a problem, okay, it is a big problem for me because now as a deputy director in Center for Development of Academic Excellence, I'm also training the whole USM on using ICT for teaching. And then I have also 3 campuses, which is the main campus in Pulau Pinang, and we have the Hospital USM, okay, HUSM in Kubang Keriat. And then we have engineering campus in Nibong Tebal. So we have 3 main campus actually, big campuses. So, and then I have to, go all around USM to teach them how to use technology and so on. And, during the trainings, during my own teaching, I face so many problems in terms of, I haven't got time to actually do proper research, the normal research that other people do, because I have no time. Okay, I have no time to like do, for example, ICT research, try to do intervention on ICT, develop apps for teaching and learning. So that is a problem for me because I don't have the time. All right. So, and I'm still teaching in a very quite a number of hours because I love teaching. So, uh, although I am in CDAE as a deputy director, I'm still teaching in School of Educational Studies, whereby my for this semester my teaching hour is more than 12 hours per week. All right. So it is while you are doing um, admin job and teaching a lot of classes, as well as now I have 12 PhD students. So to do research is, by myself, about ICT is a big problem for me. So what I would like to introduce you all, and still I have to publish. Okay, every year as a research university, you as a staff in a research university, you have to publish. Okay, Scopus, ISI, and so on. So I still have to publish, and it is a problem when you don't do research. You have to publish. All right. Okay. So now I have a question to you all. All right. So I would like you all to go to menti.com, www.menti.com. You can use your handphone. All right. And go to menti.com and use the code. When you are asked to enter the code, please enter 6244317. Okay. Let me just go to Menti and you can have a look. Not this one, this one. Okay. All right. All right. So you go to menti.com and then use the code 6244317. Kenapa pula dia tulis? Can you go to Menti?
The question is not open for voting.
Ya ke? Peliklah pula. Right. So supposed to be okay. Present. Okay, cuba try lagi.
Now it's open.
Okay, all right. Once, okay, I have once. So in what way? Kalau yang dah pernah buat sekali, alright, agak-agaknya macam mana? Yang jawab once, yang jawab no tu no lah. Memang tak ada lah kan? Alright. Not yet, alright.
Into conference presentation.
Into, oh okay, that's Dayang lah. Okay, into conference presentation. Alright. Others? Tak ada lagi lah kan? Okay. Ada lagi yang nak jawab? No? Okay. Okay, so kalau kita tengok kat sini mostly say no lah. Okay. Maksudnya belum. Yes, Putra Bingo Kit. This is your teaching and learning innovation kan? Yes, I think UPM you have like the Putra, what they call it? The teaching and learning punya competition that you do every year. Okay, so yes. So okay, then my next question is, okay, have you published journal article, product, okay, or other things from your teaching? Okay, tadi kalau mungkin you tak sedar sebenarnya, tapi kalau you pernah tak publish, for example, journal article, conference paper like Dayang said just now, alright, ataupun you not sure, mungkin you pernah ada, okay, mungkin you pernah masuk some competition, alright, from your teaching, tetapi you don't know, you are not sure. Okay, so pernah atau tidak?
Yang slide ni tak buka lah.
Ya. Boleh pula.
Tak sure lah kalau
Macam
my line yang lag.
Right, let me just. Sepatutnya dia auto je. Takut line saya pun lag juga, jadi dia macam. Cuba try.
Dia kata not open
Dapat?
lah. This question is not open for voting.
Okay, tak apalah, jawab je dengan dekat chat box, senang. Alright, dekat chat box atau you can just okay, cannot open, tak apa. Okay, so kalau you pernah, okay, so ada yang chemical environment engineering ni, is it you, Dayang?
Yeah.
Okay, ada seorang yang dah pernah publish. This is the one that you masuk conference tu ke?
Yeah, and also Pictel lah, dua lah.
Okay, Pictel ya. Okay, alright. Dr. Nick Noliana ada. Alright, so Dr. Nick, where did you publish or what did you produce? Dr. Nick?
I submit conference paper and also join the Pictel.
Okay, alright. Okay, so Dr. Musab join Pictel only, not publish anything yet. Alright. Okay, ada Razif, Dr. Razif, no. Okay, so let me just share with you all. Okay, sebenarnya, alright, whatever you do in your class is potentially can be published, okay, and it is easier actually for you to publish your class, whatever you do intervention in your class, to journal articles, even you can publish to Scopus, ISI, and so on. All right, and then the product that you produce also can be used. Okay, like if let's say you join Pictel, then from Pictel it can also go beyond UPM. All right, what it is interesting actually kalau you tengok what you have produced. Okay, you are in chemical and environmental engineering, so sebenarnya ianya lebih mudah untuk dipublish satu, okay, and then it is also potentially untuk masuk pertandingan dengan lebih apa orang kata dengan lebih mudah lah, dan memenangi pertandingan dengan lebih mudah, because whatever you do itu adalah something yang unique according to, related to your area of expertise. Kalau macam saya, it is quite hard for me to nak masuk sebab my bidang is too general. Okay, my bidang is too general whereby people always do intervention, especially in teaching and learning. Alright, sebab bidangnya ICT, but in education. So in education, people, they know how to do that, and then they know how to publish in educational environment, educational journal, and so on. However, for people who are specifically expert in engineering, for example, in medical or in sciences, it is much more easier for them to publish, okay, in their area of teaching, okay, meaning that teaching chemical engineering, for example, okay, it is easier. There are a lot of journals that you can contribute to, as well as there are a lot of competition that looks for intervention and innovation in some area of expertise. All right, so I think that it is a very good time for you to start looking at publishing your own teaching, as well as producing products from your own teaching that will benefit others. Okay, for me, I think it is important for me to do innovation in my area of teaching, because it is not only contribute to myself, but it can also contribute to other people's teaching and learning. Okay, so let me share my scenario within 12 years of teaching in USM. Okay, I joined USM in 2008, whereby in 2008 was the first time for me to teach in USM, and then I was asked to teach ICT in a big class. Okay, teaching ICT in a big class, 200 plus students, because I'm teaching the course is what they call elective wajib. So meaning that it is elective, but it is compulsory for everybody in School of Education, as well as because we are in USM, we use school, meaning that other school we are not using faculty. So the nak kata the problem bukanlah, tapi whatever we do here, meaning that we can take student from other schools and they can take our course for their elective. So that's why my class become 200 plus students, and it is offered every semester. Okay, it is offered every semester. So when my first year, 2008, 2009, and 2010, teaching in a big class was a big problem, because as a junior lecturer, I tend to follow the schedule. Okay, 2 hours of lecture, 2 hours of tutorial. But the problem is during the lecture, you need to show students on how to apply certain theories in using ICT. Okay, using computer, using a lot of softwares and so on. And then I had to do tutorials, okay, with 200 plus students, and I had to do it in a computer lab, whereby the computer labs only allow 30 students. All right, so you can know how many tutorials I had to do per week with 200 plus students. So it was a big problem for me. Okay, and that it was very tiring. It was, you have to do it, especially the tutorial. You have to do the tutorials all over again. You have to teach the student do this step by step in the computer lab. And at that time, not many students have computers. Okay, not many students have laptops. Okay, compared to now. So that was my problem, and I have to do a lot of hands-on activity. So the first 2 years was really a struggle for me to start with teaching ICT. Okay, then I think after 2 years, I feel bored, not bored. I think that I cannot go with teaching when you have 200 plus students and you are teaching computer. Even giving lectures is a problem, was a problem, because you cannot give lectures on computing. Okay, and people were not able to focus in the classroom. Okay, so during the earlier years, so I was like doing intervention. My first intervention was quiz via SMS. Okay, this one during quiz via SMS, because at that time during 2010, 2011, students, they don't have smartphone. Even us pun, kita pun tak ada smartphone. Kita ada telefon besar gedabak, kan, zaman tu telefon kecil yang Nokia 3310 and so on tu kan. So and the students also, they really sayangkan dia punya data lah. Okay, so I have to do intervention. I had to do intervention. Okay, I said I would like to try something assessment. Okay, first I was trying about assessment, about quiz via SMS. So what we did was, kita bila student kita design a system, develop a system whereby pelajar boleh buat quiz melalui SMS. Jadi dalam sistem itu, student will hantar SMS, they will send SMS to a certain number. Okay, kalau mereka ada DG, guna DG, guna Maxis, guna Cellcom, we buat 3 servers. Okay, yang tu masa tu dapat duit. So we try that first. So we bought 3 servers, and then from the servers, pelajar yang ingat ya, pelajar ni at that time nak beli data pun memang sangat kedekut lah. RM1, RM2 tu memang sangat kedekut. So jadi they have to send their answers to certain server. Lepas tu bila hantar, bila hantar tu kan kena bayar. So only charge the server, the provider only charge them 1 cent. So katalah ada 10 soalan, so less than 20 cents lah bila diorang buat quiz tu. So, and at during the first time, it was a failure, because when I did the quiz in the 200 class, what happened was the server hang, and then the student said, okay doctor, I already sent the initial SMS, but I didn't receive any question. And some of them already answered 2 questions, and then the server stuck. So it was really a disaster trying to do a quiz via SMS using certain server. All right. And then from that particular experience, I tried again. Okay. I try again and said, ask the student, okay, how about I'm not going to do the quiz in class, but we are going to do the quiz outside class, meaning that the quiz was done after class hours. So, now during, this year, the recent years, doing quiz outside class is biasa sajalah kan, semua orang dah buat pun pakai our e-learning system, e-learning platform and so on. Tapi pada tahun 2010, 2012, tak ada lagi. Okay, even WhatsApp pun tak muncul lagi pada masa itu. So we tried to use quiz via SMS. What happened was, saya cakap okay, kita akan buat this Friday starting 7 PM. So you can start the quiz at 7 PM. Katalah nak buat pukul 7, you hantar the SMS code. Okay, contohnya dia punya code is ABC123 start quiz. So dia akan hantar SMS macam tu saja. Dia hantar, kemudian bila dia hantar akan muncullah SMS. Okay, soalan yang pertama. Then dia akan jawab C. Dia hantar C, kemudian akan ada pula soalan kedua, ketiga dan keempat lah sampai soalan ke-10 macam tu. So that was my first intervention using my own class. And what happened was after the first failure, bila I dah change it into asynchronous lah masa tu, maksudnya quiz itu dijalankan during weekend, and it was a success. Bila masuk kelas kemudiannya student pun bagi tahu, wah doktor, saya jawab quiz dekat atas tikar sembahyang doktor. Lepas maghrib tu saya jawab the quiz and then dapat semua betul. So pada tahun 2010-2011 it was, tak ada lagi quiz yang dijalankan sedemikian lah. Alright. So akhirnya that particular intervention was a success, and alhamdulillah yang itu menang beberapa awards ya. Untuk innovation. Okay, so and then we also publish in many Scopus papers. ISI pada masa tu we went to Spain to publish for a big conference and so on. Okay, so that was from my class. Okay, sebab idea tu datang daripada masalah, the problem that I face in my own classroom. Okay, then we start doing that. All right, and then the intervention too is bring your own device in lecture hall. Okay, the quiz only solve one problem, but it did not solve my big classes. Okay, in School of Educational Studies USM where I teach, during that time I was a junior lecturer, and then I have one senior lecturer. Only two of us that teach ICT lah. So we don't have any spare lecturers to help us doing the tutorial. Okay, sama ada saya atau dia. So kalau 200 orang ni memang matilah kami berdua terpaksa tukar. Tapi sebab dia dah senior, dia ada banyak lagi tanggungjawab. So mostly the tutorial saya yang pegang lah. You know how hard it was to, and I was struggling, nak pergi kelas kejap tutorial. So and then I said no, I cannot do this anymore, and we have always increase enrollment in our class. So what I did was, okay, I think the students need to bring their own device in lecture hall so that I can teach only in lecture hall, tutorial also in lecture hall, everything in lecture hall. Okay, this was when the student already have smartphones. Okay, however, although they have smartphones, the problem is they don't have data. Okay, most of them don't have 200 students, Dr. Musa. So they have smartphones, but they are very kedekut lah dengan data dia kan. Jadi kita nak mengajar guna dia punya data pun dia bermasalah. So what I did was I do intervention as well. So because from the problem, I have to do some intervention untuk menyenangkan diri saya dan juga to make sure that my teaching and their learning are effective. They learn something, okay? And then they can explore ICT because education students, they are not into ICT. Okay, and then we have also students from the School of Humanities. They are also not into ICT, but ICT is their elective wajib. Okay, compulsory elective. So mereka akan carilah kos-kos mana yang ICT untuk mereka ambil. That's why my class become, bigger and bigger and bigger. All right. So then what happened was, I asked them to bring their own device. So whoever ada computer, laptop, bawa. They need to bring their laptops to the lecture hall. Okay, so that I don't have to do tutorials. Okay, so many tutorials, and sometimes dah lah tutorial banyak masuk dalam computer lab, what happened? The computer pun bukan boleh percaya sangat kan, dengan tak boleh buka lah, dengan berbagai-bagai masalah. So I said you need to bring either your laptops or your handphones to class, and then we are going to do the hands-on, the hands-on in the lecture hall. Masalah yang dihadapi bila they brought their computers and handphones adalah sekejap, it is lecture hall. So the lecture hall punya meja is not sesuai lah. It's not suitable for computers and so on. Ada yang laptop terjatuh, berlentum lah, itulah, inilah. So they all have to membiasakan diri. Okay, they have to make sure that they can adapt. They can adapt lah dalam lecture hall dengan their device. Okay, so namun it really is my task, my job as a lecturer, as well as lama-lama bila the students dah biasa, dia cakap, okay lah, tak payah datang tak payah pergi ke lab. And then satu masalah pula, internet. Alright, with 200 students and USM Wi-Fi pada masa itu yang sangat macam siput kan. So student nak masuk je apps, nak buat hands-on, nak buat guna director for example, tak boleh. Okay, so my class become, I have to think something else pula. Apa aku nak buat ni dengan internet ni? Kalau cakap kat USM pun memang lambat lah diorang akan apa orang kata, increase the internet punya kan availability. So what happened was, my class was 3 hours. Okay, 3 hours sebab yang 2 hours tutorial tu biasa buat sejam saja. So 3 hours straight, what I did was, okay, I tell the student, okay, you need to bring your own device. I'm going to teach or brief you only half an hour. Then after half an hour, for example, my class was 9 a.m. So 9:30, I'm going to let you go. You all go. You go to under the Wi-Fi hub anywhere in the campus. All right. And then at 11:30 ke, 9, 10, 11, 9, 10, 11. Okay, 11:30, you must come back to the lecture hall and present whatever you have. I sediakan a platform whereby I can see how they do. They can upload their bahan and so on. And at that time, I use Padlet. I use Padlet so much. Tapi masa itu Padlet pun free. Okay, we don't have to pay for Padlet masa itu. So I have like hundreds of Padlets that student can use for their learning. And I can use it for my teaching. And it was really effective. The student like it. They like the kebebasan yang I bagi during the class room. And then they can do the hands-on whenever they need me. They can look for me at the lecture hall. Okay, dia akan cari. Ada juga bila dah masing-masing dah berterbangan di merata tempat, ada yang datang, ada yang duduk juga dekat dalam lecture hall itu bersama-sama dengan saya untuk buat kerja, untuk hands-on the ICT, Okay, so and then there was intervention too. I also published from there. Okay, the experience and so on, the data collected. Then I do, and recently I do the intervention in blended learning. Before I do the intervention of blended learning, before it becomes popular in all the universities. Okay, meaning that I studied with for example, Zoom. Okay, before orang guna Zoom lagi, I dah guna. Okay, the 40 minutes. What happened was, sebab tak mampu masa tu nak beli the pro account of Zoom, what happened was, I buat kelas, okay, 40 minutes, okay, stop. Then I will give them another link, okay, kita continue for another 40 minutes. So sampailah kelas tu habis. And it was a success because student masa tu dia tak biasa guna Zoom, and then the class was they feel that okay, biasanya kita jumpa dekat kelas face to face, now we use Zoom, and then it was really effective. I can see that my student engage. Okay, kalau dalam kelas dia senyap, dalam Zoom, okay, especially for undergraduate students, dalam Zoom dia become very active. Okay, then I know, okay, I have to do intervention in blended learning. So yang inilah, whatever I did dalam kelas, my class ini sebenarnya adalah what brought me to Anugerah Akademik Negara sebenarnya. Nampak simple, tetapi sebenarnya the process is very comprehensive. And then when saya terangkan satu persatu, dia kata, oh okay, you tak ada pun buat research yang really yang you buat sistem, for example, tak ada. Okay, it is just whatever I did in my class, yang itulah sebenarnya membawa kepada Anugerah Akademik Negara, Anugerah Pengajaran. So you can see that if in Anugerah Akademik Negara kita tengok, kita ada 6 cluster, we have 6 clusters, whereby semua clusters ada dalam tu. Engineering ada, science, applied science, social science, applied social science and so on, kan? So kita ada semua itu. So meaning that you in engineering campus, in engineering, chemical engineering, you can actually do innovation in your teaching, and then you can go beyond the usual way you are doing something, and then you can go for awards and so on. And 2018 from my intervention also, I got the the best blended learning award, okay, 2018, and it was in Australia. So it was an international recognition for me, dapat pingat emas untuk blended learning, okay, new blended learning model. Alright, so yang ini whatever I did comes from my class. Okay, so you can also do that in your class. Okay, so why did I do that? Okay, so sebenarnya, okay, our class is a handy research place compared to other places. Okay, kelas kita, we own, macam kita lah tuan dalam kelas tu lah. Okay, we own our class, okay? And you have yourself. Okay, you tak perlu bergantung pada orang lain, and you also sebenarnya you don't need a grant to do a research in your class, and tapi you boleh dapat grant, sikit-sikit grant pun jadilah, okay, to do research in your class, in our class. Jadi tak perlulah grant sampai beratus ribu and so on, sebab maybe you don't need to buy materials and so on. Gunakan apa yang dah ada, yang telah disediakan, then you can do research. Okay, satu, you have yourself, and then you also have your students, and then you have your class plan every day. Okay, every day when you have your class, okay, before you go to class, you tak masuk kelas dengan without a plan. Okay, always you have a plan when you go to your class. Okay, apa saja you kena ada plan dulu, kan? Setiap kali takkanlah you masuk betul terus you tak terus mengajar. Mungkin you dah expert dalam you punya bidang, tapi still, okay, you kena ada plan. Apa nak buat dalam, for example, 2 hours of class. That is also what we call plan. And then you have your materials. Okay, kalau you mengajar, macam saya mengajar ICT, so my materials is all in the computer. Kalau you all mengajar something to do with chemicals or whatever lah, okay, so that will be your materials. You have your materials. So it is a handy place. You can start your research in your classroom and you can publish from it. Fact of your class, number 1. Okay, so ingat saya dari awal tadi saya ada I mention about my problem. Okay, my problem in my big class. Okay, my problem with the internet. and I have to do something and so on. So we can start our research based on our problem in the classroom. So now you can think, okay, what is my problem in the classroom? Contoh, okay, example, student saya ni macam tidak fokus dalam kelas. Alright, they are not focused. Dan budak-budak sekarang dalam kelas, yang ini saya bercakap tentang, I'm talking about the normal class lah, bukan kelas during COVID-19 ni kan. We are doing the class online. However, it can also be the starting point. Okay, you are teaching online now, you cannot go to the lab. What can I do in my class to make it effective online class, for example? Okay, I'm teaching something to do with lab work. So how am I going to introduce different types of lab works or different types of experiment and so on to my class? Okay, can I use other materials than what I always do in the lab, for example? So you are the expert for your area, so it won't be a problem. Meaning that the problem will come from what you encounter in your class. So whatever we do, we start with a problem. Sebenarnya setiap whatever you do dalam research memang start with problem kan. Tetapi yang ini, you can look at specifically the problem that you encountered in your class. Fact of our class, number 2, okay, whatever we use in our class can be used as a research material, as research materials or as research focus. Meaning that, katalah sekarang you are doing the online class. Okay, you are doing the online class using Zoom, using WebEx. In USM, we are using WebEx or Microsoft Teams, for example. Okay, whatever that we use during our teaching can be used as research material. Even Zoom can be used as our research materials, or even whatever lah yang you ada untuk you punya, contohnya PowerPoint, your PowerPoint yang you present, okay, can be used also for research materials, atau you letak video. Okay, you put video sebab during COVID-19 you tak boleh demo kepada your students, for example. So the best thing is you are using your you cari dekat YouTube the video, alright, video for example tentang certain topics, you tayangkan pada student. While you are presenting the video to your students, suddenly you think you encounter one thing, this video ada sikit lari lah daripada apa yang sepatutnya berlaku, or whatever lah, you tengok kat video tu, you found something, and then alamak, okay, alamak, maybe you need to change something and so on. Alright, so mungkin video itu tak berapa sesuai tapi tak berapa. Then that can be your research focus juga. So the contohnya the inaccuracy of YouTube materials compared to your class topic, for example. So it is also a starting point for a research. Okay, the video yang orang produce tapi tak dapat digunakan secara berkesan 100% for your own class. So yeah, you can start that. Alright, so Dr. Musab was asking, if we introduce an intervention, how do we develop the methodology to analyze the finding? Should we have a control group? How to reduce the bias if we use a control group? Okay, I'll answer that question later on, yeah, Dr. Musab, because I'm going to go to the methodology of action research. So then you will know how to do it. Okay, so but how do we start? Okay, nak buat research. If you would like to do a research in your classroom, how do we start? I think this is the problem for people in who are not in education area, meaning that people in faculty of education, in school of education and so on, they will know how to start. But people who are expert in certain area, sciences and so on, their they may be like the question Dr. Musab just was asking just now lah kan. Should we have control group? Should we have experimental group and so on? Are we going to do quasi and so on? Quasi experiment or full experiment and so on. So how do we start? That is actually the question that you might have. All right. So now we are going to do action research. Okay, what we call action research. Have you heard of action research before this? Pernah dengar tak? Mungkin you pernah dengar. You might have, encounter. Maybe some people said action research, and you might think that it is only for education and so on. But no, action research can be done in your own classroom. Okay, so Dr. Dayang said no. Okay, yes, meaning that I think most of the people in engineering, in sciences and so on, they have never encountered action research. Okay, so now I'm going to introduce you to what is action research and what can we do in our classroom. Okay, what action that we need to take in action research. Okay, all right. What is action research? Okay, in action research, whatever you do in class, okay, you turn it into research. Okay, so whatever you do in class, you turn into research. Contoh, okay, the example that I mentioned earlier. Remember my intervention, my problem was I have 200 plus students. Okay, then it was a big problem for me. Then I have to plan. Okay, duduk sorang-sorang, okay, masuk office, and I was thinking how to solve this problem. Okay, with 200 plus students, and then I have to do hands-on teaching, and then they have to explore, and then at the end of the day, the learning outcome for my course, maybe at the end of this class, student will be able to develop whatever. Okay, so while giving lecture and so on, I won't be able to do that. During tutorial, it was like, not everybody can do hands-on because of the limitation in the computer lab and so on. So I have to plan on doing the research. So first, in action research, you have to plan. All right, look at your problems, okay, in the classroom, and then plan. What am I going to do? Okay, you need to be creative lah. Okay, kalau masalah, if your problem is like me, I have a very big class. So how am I going to divide the class so that my teaching will be effective? So then I remember, my tutorial I already divide, but it is not that effective. Okay, for me as well of my students, so I have to plan. What are other ways that I can do? Okay, kena fikir. All right. Remember also, okay, like I mentioned earlier, when I did the SMS quiz, the first one was a disaster. Sebab why? The system hang, the student were not able to get the question, they were not able to answer, then it was a failure, okay, during the first intervention. So then I went back and I think, okay, can I did this like this way? Okay. Then I think, maybe because there were too many students, then I have to do it differently. The server would not be able to cater so many students. Then I have to make it longer. So why don't I why I didn't make it longer? So that's why I did that during the weekend, so that the server will be stressed and so on. That was my planning. First, I plan. Okay, I plan first. Whatever I have the problem that I encounter in my class, I plan. I plan for intervention. Remember, you don't have to be perfect at the first time. You can have a failure, but you plan first. Just plan and then execute. Meaning that the first thing you plan, okay, I'm in my class next week. Next week, I'm going to do this, this, and this. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Plan first. And then take action. During the class, you must take action whereby you did what you planned. Okay, during the action, okay, in action research, you don't have to follow the procedure like quasi-experimental group. For example, in quasi, you will have a control group, experimental group, okay, or in experimental research, you must do that as well. But in action research, you do what you plan. Okay, you don't have to follow a specific procedure of research. We have these 4 only. All right. So you plan first, and then when you go to your class next week, you do what you plan. Then you observe. Okay, if your plan is 1, 2, 3, so make sure that during your class, you do the plan. First, you are going to do this. Second, you are going to do this. Third, you are going to do this. All right. And then during that particular process, you observe. What happened? Can the student do whatever task that you ask them to do? Can this can be implemented? For example, you have 20 students in your class. Okay, you would like them to look for videos, for example, that's suitable for certain topics. So you observe the way they look for the videos. Okay, this is for me. This I always give my student task. Okay, it is not me who did the task, who do the task, but I always ask my student to do the task. And whether the task is effective, you observe. Okay, for example, after you ask a student to do something, and then after, for example, half an hour or 15 minutes, you found that student will say, okay, they will say, Doktor, saya tak jumpa lah benda-benda ni, atau I have problem in this and that. That you take note from that, and then, okay, you take note, and then you will see, just take note, okay, you don't have to solve the problem just yet, okay, that was only your observation. After class, you reflect, okay, after class, you reflect, okay, during my plan, I plan A, B, C, 1, 2, 3, then the action was taken by me, meaning that I asked my student to do 1, 2, 3. Okay, and then I observe. During the observation, I found that some of my students think that some of my students achieve, okay, whatever task that I gave to him or to them, but some of the students, they were not able to achieve that particular a task, okay, the outcome that I expected from them. Okay, so then I make a note. Okay, make a note from that particular observation and so on. Okay, from the plan, from the action, from the observation, you must take notes, and then you reflect. Reflect from the activity. What went wrong? What did they do? How about doing this the other way around, or whatever? So the reflections come from 1, 2, 3. Then after the reflection, okay, how about I do this differently? For example, if let's say from the first time I did 1, 2, 3, but next week I'm going to do 2, 3, 1. For example, the steps. All right. So that is how we do action research. We must do the action. Okay, we reflect and then we take action. Okay, so okay, Dr. Dayang was asking if the 4 steps had been taken, if the okay, then what, macam mana nak tulis kan? Okay, kita dah buat, then how to write a paper. Okay, so during the process, the 4 steps process, sekejap dia ada mengacau pula dia. Okay, cepat keluar. Alright, tak boleh nak fokus. Alright, okay. And then, okay. Bila kita dah buat plan ni, ingat, remember I said just now, when you did the plan, you write. When you did the action, alright, write something. When you observe, you write something. When you reflect, you write something. Okay, so you need to start writing when you plan. Alright, when you plan, you start always write something about what you plan. Each step you need to write. Okay, so I won't explain now, Dayang, but it will come later on the how it becomes the research paper. Okay, later on the answer. Okay, so let's watch this video first. Dah buka dah ni.
Teaching is a craft. It's both an art and a science, which is why great teachers always experiment and make tons of mistakes. But how do you know what's actually working? Well, one option is action research. Here you can identify a question, test out a strategy, gather data, and determine if it works. The end result is something dynamic, innovative, and tied directly to the classroom. Action research dissolves the barrier between the participants and the researchers. In other words, the teacher actively participates in the situation while also conducting the research. There are many action research frameworks, but they generally follow a similar process. You start out in phase 1, planning for research. Here you begin with inquiry, where you define a specific research question. It needs to be something that can actually be tested. Next, you conduct a literature review to gain a deeper understanding of the topic. Finally, you move into the design process, where you determine your data methods, consider ethical issues, get the required permissions, create deadlines, and set up the systems. Next, you move into the action phase. This is where you engage in multiple cycles of experimentation and data collection. Your data collection might include qualitative data like observations, artifacts, and interviews, or quantitative data like rubric scores, surveys, or achievement data. Afterward, you move to analysis. You'll often start by organizing the data with charts or graphs and looking for specific trends. You might also discuss it with peers, rewrite in a journal, or create a cluster map before eventually writing out your results. Finally, you have your conclusion. This is where you share your research with the world and reflect on your own practice. This will ultimately lead to newer questions, and the cycle will continue as you refine your craft as a better, more creative teacher.
Okay, so kalau you all tengok, if you have a look at this video just now, okay, yang I tunjuk di sini, the plan, action, observe and reflects. Okay, the analysis process will go into either here or here. Okay, biasanya Okay, usually the reflect is the result, the observation will be the analysis. Okay, so walaupun ianya nampak macam ni, tetapi it goes round and round and round, tetapi it is not as hard as the usual research whereby you kena tunggu result dia and so on. So that's why you need to write all throughout your class. Okay, so you can refer to this video later on. Okay, so meaning that in action research, it is an approach to a purposeful classroom research. It is learning by doing. Okay, remember in the video just now, it mentioned about mixed method. Okay, I think that people in engineering, okay, or sciences, you are not used to qualitative research. Okay, that's why in action research, you can actually do a qualitative research, just qualitative research, or you can also do mixed methods research, or you can also use simple. Okay, simple. Remember I said simple quantitative research. Okay, meaning that it won't go to like what is the significant difference between this and this. You have to do the regression and so on. We don't go up to that. We don't go up to the, seeing the significant whatever of the result and so on. No. All right. We are only looking at the changes of our students, okay, behavior after we do the research. Okay, so it takes place in a natural setting. All right. So, and it also involves action or strategies to determine result. For example, okay, for example, you see that in your class, every semester, it is a very worrying when you are really worried when you see that most of your students get C's. For example, you have 20 students. However, in your class, only 1 or 2 students will get an A. Most of them will get a C, 3 or 4 will get a B, for example. Okay, that is your concern. So meaning that you are seeing a very worrying, meaning that, people will ask, maybe during, I don't know, in UPM, but in USM, what happened was, kalau if let's say our class everybody got an A, we are being queried, kenapa ya kelas you semua dapat A? Okay, is it you bagi semua markah A, soalan you senang sangat and so on. Alright, that is a problem. And then if let's say your class got too many fail student, you got many Fs, you have to answer as well. Okay, kenapa ramai sangat fail ni? Kita soalan susah sangat ke you don't know how to teach? Okay, sometimes you will ask like that. Okay, dan biasanya pensyarah akan disalahkan lah kan kalau this happen, right? Okay, same. So meaning that yes, sometimes kita sendiri, we as a lecturer pun worry juga. Am I not teaching right? Am I not a competent lecturer and so on. Okay, so meaning that it involves action or strategies. When you found that, okay, I have too many failure students, so I have to do some strategies, okay, to determine the result. Maybe we would like to increase more Bs, for example, so that next semester when during the exam board meeting, you can say, okay, from last year I have 18 students got C, but this year I have 10, only 5 got C, for example. Okay, so that is from my research. Even that you can publish. Okay, meaning that the differences between the last semester results and this semester result. Okay, just simple as mean. Okay, just simple as mean score for your students' achievement can be used to publish paper. However, you must write it as a mixed method study, meaning that as I mentioned earlier, okay, and wait, this one. As I mentioned earlier, all right, when you did this, you must write, okay, what is your problem, what is your planning, what will be your action, what did you observe, and then you reflect. So you write this as a qualitative research. How? During the observation, okay, you just, for example, in the normal class, you just stand in your class, okay, you give tasks to your students, and then you observe. Okay, if you think that you might be, you can't observe all the time and so on, you can video. All right, you can take video, put a video camera and then on, okay, with a tripod and so on, and observe what are the activities and so on, and then you write from there. Okay, so don't wait to write. After the class, you just make a note, okay, during that class, okay, this student were very active. Okay, let us see after the quiz whether they will be able to answer the questions. Okay, maybe after in your plan, you are going to have a quiz. Okay, in the next class. Okay, about this topic. So, okay, let us see whether this particular student, she is active in the class. Let us see whether if she is active in the class, next week her result, her quiz result will go up. Okay, how about the student who are not really active? Okay, so you must, from your observation, you are going to compare your observation with the result of the student quiz next week. Okay, so meaning that during your plan, you are going to put, okay, first I want them to do this. Okay, and then I'm going to give them the topics for today. Then I'm going to set up an activity. First, they are going to do this by themselves first, and then they need to discuss with their friends, okay, or two of their friends, or just one friend, okay, and then you, during that process, you are going to just observe what they do, maybe you facilitate and so on. Then, okay, next week, not today, but next week, or if you would like to do the quiz immediately, after that particular process, you are going to do a simple quiz on that particular topic. All right. So all the plan, 1, 2, 3, plan, all the plan you observe, you write, and then you have the result. For example, you are going to put your quiz in your e-learning platform. Okay, UPM e-learning platform. So then they do the quiz for 50 minutes or 20 minutes and so on. Or maybe you have an essay, they just write, and then you are going to compare your observation of their engagement in the class and the results of their quiz. Okay, and then you write, you reflect. Okay, the students who are active show engagement in class. They actively discuss with their friend. However, during the quiz, their results were just C, for example. They got 50 out of 100. Why? Okay, maybe they are not discussing, but they are just discussing something else. Okay, we don't know. So then we do something else next week. Okay, so this is how you put it into your own perspective. You are there, like remember earlier I said, it is your class. Okay, you are there. You are the one who will plan. You are the one who is going to take action. You have to observe, and then you have to reflect. All the process will help you to write later on. Okay, meaning that you will have the data for the quiz. Maybe this week you are going to look for the first quiz. They are going to get how many marks. And then next week you are going to change the plan. For example, this week you are going to do a collaborative work. For example, they have to discuss and so on. Next week, what you are going to do, you are going to change it into maybe just one activity, one own activity, for example. Okay, they are going to do the activity by themselves, and then they will see they have to do the task and so on. Then after that, they are going to have a quiz as well. Okay, what will happen after the quiz? Okay, you can compare. Maybe there are students who go up, maybe they go down, and then you know which strategy. You are going to analyze just from your observation of the class activities and their quiz result. Then you compare, you reflect. Okay, so that is the writing, the only writing that you are going to put. And as well as you remember in this particular video just now, they mentioned about theory. Okay, I would like to advise you. Okay, if education lecturers, usually they have these learning theories in their heads, but as I know, other lecturers who are not into education, they don't know about this theory. Okay, we have this usually in education, we have theories on how students learn. Okay, how human learn. Okay, we have three theories. When you go back, you might want to have a look at this. Where human learn from cognitivist theory, cognitive, whereby people learn from their heads, meaning that we believe that mereka ilmu itu berada di kepala masing-masing. Okay, jadi maksudnya bila dia belajar something, when they learn something, they are going to store the whatever they know in their head, and then if we would like to know what they have learned, we have to do quizzes and so on. All right, so that is cognitive theory. And then we have behaviorist theory. Behaviorist learning theory, whereby people learn from stimulus. Okay, we have stimulus and response. For example, a stimulus and response, whereby you give your students stimulus, and then they respond, and then from their response, we will know that they learn something. For example, you ask them to do something, okay, and then they will learn something. Okay, so they do something. For example, you ask them to do an experiment. So then from the experiment, they are successful. Okay, so that is, sorry, ada gangguan pula. Sekejap. Okay, so from there, you will know whether they learn or not. Okay, so that is behaviorist theory. So for example, you give, sorry lah, anak saya kacau sekejap tadi. Alright, so for example, when you give stimulus, anybody who answer this quiz will get a chocolate bar. Okay, the apa kata, top answers will get a chocolate bar. So student will be able to they go back and learn that particular topic, and then so that they will receive a chocolate bar if they got the highest marks. Okay, so that is behaviorist, meaning that you give the stimulus and then the student responds and then they learn. Okay, that is behaviorist. And then we have another one, constructivist. in constructivist, we believe that students learn, yes, Ramiza betul. Okay, we give reward to our student that is behaviorist. Sometimes kita sebagai lecturer memang kita suka kadang-kadang bagi kat saya punya approach lately lah, sebelum COVID hari tu, sebelum COVID, I bought Maggie cup. Alright, Maggie cup to class. Okay, letak dalam handbag Maggie cup and then I give quiz. Sebab apa? Sebab the students like it, you know, meaning that they, saya cakap, okay, the hadiah, the reward for today's winner is Maggie cup. Oh, masing-masing berebut sebab suka dapat Maggie cup. Alright. So, and then kalau nak mahal sikit belilah ramen ke whatever kan. So, that is stimulus and response. Kalau kita believe that people or human learn from stimulus, kita kena bagi stimulus dulu and then they will learn because they want the reward, for example, then we believe on behaviorist. Okay. Kalau, so tadi cognitivist, okay, ilmu semua ada dalam kepala. Kalau behaviorist, we have stimulus and response, okay, and then we have constructivist, whereby we believe that our students learn from experience and then they have to do something lah from the experience. We are going to like approach them and then, for example, you are teaching them how to ride a bicycle. Okay, when you teach students how to ride a bicycle, kalau constructivist, apa yang you akan buat, you are going to bring a bicycle to your class and then you teach them by asking them to ride the bicycle. Okay, that is constructivist. Kalau orang cognitivist, biasanya dia akan suruh imagine je. Okay, imagine a bicycle. Okay, first dia akan cakap dan akan sampai ke kepala dan student akan imagine lah how to ride a bicycle. Okay, dia akan try to remember the step how to ride a bicycle for cognitive. Tetapi orang constructivist, dia akan bawa bicycle itu untuk for student to ride in the bicycle. That is constructivist. And then behaviorist tadi, siapa yang berjaya bawa basikal ini, dia akan dapat hadiah basikal ini. So that is a stimulus. So orang yang takut nak bawa basikal pun akan ride the bicycle to get the bicycle as a reward. Okay, itu adalah 3 basic learning theory yang boleh digunakan dalam you punya writing. So you know, take note and then you can go back. Sebenarnya it can also be reflected lah sekarang ni. Okay, I am actually a behaviorist theory ke rajin ke tidak ni aku bawa hadiah dalam kelas. For example, you reflect to yourself. Okay, ataupun memang bila dalam kelas I will bring something for them to do. Okay, I am a constructivist. Okay, ataupun memang masuk je saya bagi dia test. Bagi dia test, bagi dia buat itu, bagi dia, meaning that you know, bagi dia jawab soalan, you ask question, they have to sebut dia jawapan and so on, then you are a cognitivist. Or you are a combination of those theory, meaning that you have all those theory in your head but you don't know what it is. Okay, jadi sebenarnya, okay, Dr. Musab said based on my current student, lebih pada visualization. Cognitivism quite difficult, need video from YouTube. So that is apa? When you give video from YouTube, you are giving them, they are looking at the video. Okay, visualization is not a theory. Kita ada 3 je teori. Sebenarnya ada 4. Ada connectivism. Mungkin you are a connectivist. Okay, yang teori connectivist ini baru dalam 2003 macam tu, barulah kan. Yang cognitivist, behaviorist and constructivist. Yang ini 3 ini memang dari tahun kita belum lahir dulu dah ada dah. They believe that people learn like this and yes, it reflected to us as a teacher, as a lecturer. Connectivist meaning that it is a combination of these 3 plus you think that student need to learn from technology. Okay, this is connectivism. It is a new theory whereby you think that every whatever you teach need to be connected with technology. That is a connectivist. Okay, so maybe kalau you think that your student need to visualize and so on, you might have to do infographic for your student, because if you give them text to read, they don't understand, but they need more visualize. Okay, for example, you are teaching a theory or whatever, a procedure, a formula and so on, tapi bila you letak dekat dalam suruh dia baca, satu apa pun dia tak faham. So, okay, you think that, okay, how about next week I'm going to put this text into an infographic, and infographic I tukarlah, okay, ini gambar, for example, whatever you do, and then this is the text that describe, and then you buat satu flow chart and so on using infographic, and you teach them using that particular infographic. Okay, so that is connectivist. Okay, jadi mungkin juga itu adalah kaedah yang you rasa boleh buat. So how about, contohnya kalau you nak buat kelas next week, okay, you rasa macam Dr. Musab katalah, based on dia punya observation of their student, of his student, so dia rasa macam okay, my students like to watch YouTube. Alright, so how about next week I use YouTube, however I'm going to connect the YouTube with infographic, with visual, whereby I'm going to prepare an infographic, and then in that infographic, first I'm going to put some info about the learning outcomes and so on, and then at the bottom I'm going to embed a YouTube based on the topic, and then at the bottom of the infographic I'm going to put some quiz and so on, and see how effective is that particular method to my student. And then at the end, you can evaluate. Okay, so actually action research can be done in one class only if you like, but you can do it 2 times or 3 times, you know, as long as you need and you get the result, meaning that if let's say the first time you are not satisfied with the class, the result, then you can go and do it all over again in your other classes. Meaning that it involves action and strategies to determine the result. Maksudnya that's why when you do action research, you can publish as papers, as well as you can masuk pertandingan inovasi such as picture. Picture is in UAPM only, but you can go beyond picture, whereby we have IUCEL, for example, the international one. And like I did last time, I went to Learns Impact Award, okay, in Melbourne. And then at that time, I just try to do intervention in my e-learning platform. I just use my Moodle platform, USM Moodle platform, and then during that particular innovation, what I did was I just give them the username and password of my e-learning platform, and I show them, okay, this is my first plan, second plan, and third plan. You can have a look for the evidence in my class. I have videos of my student doing activities and so on. You can have a look in my e-learn. That was the evidence. So they look for it. That's where I got the gold medal. All right. And I got 3,000 US dollar for that. All right, meaning that whatever you do in class is, whatever you do in class is applicable for writing papers, okay. And then most, because I haven't got time to do actual research, okay, develop system and so on tu, I tak ada masa. Memang sekarang tak ada masa. So, like this year, I produced 9 Scopus papers. Alright? And all that come from my action research only. Okay, whatever I did in my class, okay, for example, and now I'm collecting data for some intervention in class. Okay, so collecting data, if I need somebody from outside my class to inform that, I do Google form and so on. So it is a very fast research that I can produce immediately, and each year I can produce papers for my university's KPI. So in action research, they allow us, okay, even the students, yeah, to become researcher, to utilize creative problem solving approaches. But you need to try. Okay, plan first. Okay, you need to plan and then you try to solve problem. Kalau buat pertama kali tak berjaya, then try to think of kenapa ianya tak berjaya. Mungkin something is wrong during your action. Okay, mungkin you ask student to do this, but rather they might have to do something else. Okay, and so later on maybe the other class you try different way, different approaches. Okay, and then that is also a way to become researcher. Researcher is not only you do whatever lab work you have and then you campur-campur bahan kimia sebab you all chemical lah kan. So I just assume that you campur-campur bahan kimia and then you become something new and so on. Whatever, contohnya you mengajar kimia, you mengajar chemical engineering, tetapi you are teaching. Okay, and then you, especially for our undergraduate class, they might have problems. Some of them during school time, they just memorize what they learn from their teachers, and then when they go to university, they have problem to remember. Sebab apa? Sebab masa sekolah, the approach of the teachers only read from textbook. Okay, they learn biology, kimia, physics, and so on, but they memorize. Then when they went to matrics, also they memorize for exams. But when they reach the university level, they won't be able to do that. Okay, banyaklah gangguan-gangguan dengan kelas banyak and so on. That's why we can see that students who were straight A student during their SPM and so on, they can also be in USM we call P1, P2 yang ada masalah, yang dia punya CGPA 2 point dan ke bawah, sometimes 1.5 dan ke bawah, maybe sebab our approach. Okay, so that's why we need to do action research in our class, as well as it gives structure to the process of inquiry and reflection. Okay, selama ni, okay, you try to reflect to your own teaching. Adakah selama ini you have a structure in your class, or you do variety of teaching and learning approaches to different topics, ataupun you mengajar different topics in the same way. Adakah itu betul? Mungkin ia betul, ataupun mungkin ianya yang menimbulkan masalah, student tak faham. You go to class, you terangkan, okay, sebatian ini campur sebatian ini jadi ini. Tetapi student terpaksa imagine, okay, sebatian tu rupa macam ada, and this rupa macam ada, unless they go to lab. Itu pun kadang-kadang sebab dia tak faham the theory, and then bila dia go to lab, dia pun jadi berkecamuk. Alright, so then being reflective is a prerequisite in this type of study. Remember, yeah, that's why I ask you to write from planning, from action, from when you collect data and so on. Okay, observe from your observation, or even when you ask them to do quiz, okay, you write. And then you do the reflection. Okay, being reflective is a prerequisite. Compared to when we do our normal research, we do our experiment, we do, yes, you do observe, but you don't observe the humans. You observe the materials that you use for research. But in action research, you are observing your students and what they do during the activity in your classroom, and then from there you write. Okay, for example, you were observing me. You were observing me, Azidah, and then you observe, okay, Azidah ni dia masuk kelas. Okay, I asked her to do this and this. I asked the class to do this and this and this. What did she do during the activity? Azidah do firstly, okay, I asked to do this, okay, she looks okay. And then when I asked her to do the collaborative activity, she seems so active, but I don't know. So you jalan, bila you jalan dekat dia je, dia akan tersenyap. Okay, tiba-tiba dia stop bercakap. So maybe she was discussing something else, not the topic. Alright, maybe. Okay, so the maybe also you put in your writing. Okay, your notes. Okay, the notes is useful for your writing paper later on. Okay, you tak nanti bila you duduk nak menulis tu nanti, the notes will be your first reference for your writing. Then barulah you pergi cari teori. For example, you tengok ni okay, collaborative learning. This might be constructivist code sebab dia perlu beri, so you pergi carilah, ataupun you pergi je Google cari collaborative learning. So ada teori collaborative under certain umbrella, so you masuk and support, baca and masuk. It is much more easier, meaning that you dah jumpa your plan ini sebenarnya dari teori apa, then you masuk, you tulis. Okay, so and then this reflective and inquiry process will lead to improvement or achievement for educators and students. It is not only improvement for the student, ya. For example, student, you tengok, oh tiba-tiba dia punya quiz tinggi. Okay, from your intervention you can see your students got higher marks, for example, and then meaning that something good is being done there. So yang ni pun you boleh tulis nanti, meaning that okay, the result for this study is, okay, sebelum ini, before this, the student was not able to answer questions, okay, always have problems in answering question. However, bila dah buat activity through this plan, we can see that the student increase dia punya achievement. Okay, so whatever that you have that, and then the bukti, the evidence of student increase achievement, yang itulah yang you boleh masuk dalam journal. Okay, your observation semua, and then dia punya result masuk. That is a mixed method research. And then also, for example, tadi kan saya dia bagi contoh, you buat satu infografik. Okay, Dr. Musab kata dia buat infographics and so on. From infographics you plan, okay, mula you letak ni, the learning outcomes, you letak video, then you letak question and so on, whatever lah you buat dalam bentuk infographic yang you bagi pada students, and from there you can see that students result increase. Okay, yang itu yang you boleh masuk ke dalam Pictel ke, mula-mula boleh try di Pictel, or you can go to beyond your universities and masuk, ada banyak pertandingan inovasi yang ada di luar sana, you just go and try. Okay, and then it can also, jadi achievement itu akan jadi yours bila you war-warkan apa yang you buat. Mungkin itu adalah innovation baru yang orang lain tak buat pun, sebab you punya bidang lain, my bidang is lain. Tetapi mungkin dalam bidang I, for me, orang ICT, kita dah banyak dah buat intervention using ICT, benda tu dah perkara biasa. Tapi in your bidang, chemical engineering for example, ianya satu perkara yang baru. So, that is your contribution, dan dia boleh jadi paper, and then it can be masuk innovation dan boleh menang sebab orang lain dalam chemical engineering tak buat pun kaedah tu. So you know, it is specific to your topic, your intervention in teaching and learning. Biasanya you buat research tentang that chemical engineering saja without the teaching and learning. Alright, so from the action research process, a research paper can be written. Ingat, bila you buat action research, it's you write starting from the plan. Simpan semua tu. Research, you boleh buat kalau 10 pages of research paper dah boleh dapat dah tu, semua activity semua. Write in detail and InsyaAllah boleh jadi, dan boleh juga memang boleh pergilah ke jurnal-jurnal citation index yang bagus. Alright, dan kadang-kadang if you check, mungkin kadang-kadang when you did not publish in a teaching and learning based journal, you tak aware that kewujudan that particular journal because you are looking at a specific expertise in your area. Jadi you tak tahu pun ada Chemical Engineering Journal of Teaching and Learning. Jadi yang itu yang sebenarnya tempat di mana you publish this particular research paper. Okay, next. Alright. Jadi sebenarnya walaupun kita aim for apa kata research paper, product and so on, tetapi sebenarnya reaction research ini nak helps kita sebagai educators to be more effective. Alright, bila kita jadi more effective in our teaching, kita akan membantu student kita untuk learn, then it will actually help us to produce more. Okay. Yes, it involves a few cycle. It can also do kadang-kadang kita boleh buat one cycle, tapi it is advisable, okay, as Dr. Ramiza said just now, it is advisable for us to do a few cycle. Dan a few cycle tak payahlah tunggu sampai satu semester. This week, next week and third only a few weeks should be okay dah. 3 minggu, 4 minggu, but different cycle. Mungkin juga kalau you plan A, B, C, tak adalah you ubah banyak sekali. Mungkin A tak sama, B tetap sama, C tu you ubah sikit. For example, biasanya you buat masuk kelas, you do A. A adalah you bagi introduction, you give them some theory and so on. B, you buat eksperimen and so on. C, you ask them to do latihan, contoh ya. And then next week you are going to change. First next week masuk-masuk you akan bagi quiz. Okay, tetapi bukan quiz yang topik lepas, tetapi quiz tentang topik baru. So that is an intervention. You just try to give them new topik punya quiz yang dia tak pernah belajar lagi pun. Alright, you bagi dia quiz and then you tengok that particular dia punya answer dia lah. Then kemudian baru you ajar. Okay, you ajar. At the end you bagi the same quiz. Tengok pencapaian dia sebelum dia belajar dengan selepas dia belajar. So it is like a quasi experiment juga, tapi it is only in your class. Okay, so masuk situ. Okay, you tengok result pre and post. Next week you masuk pula, you do the same thing, masuk you bagi quiz on the new topic, tapi yang B, kaedah pengajaran tu you tukar. Kalau dulu you just mengajar, you tengok result dia, post test tu, tapi next weeknya you masuk, you suruh dia buat something ataupun whatever lah, you tukar dia punya kaedah pengajaran, then you suruh dia buat quiz lagi sekali. Alright, so you compare between minggu 1 dengan minggu 2. Alright, atau minggu 3 pula, you nak buat different things pula, tapi dalam lebih kurang keadaan yang sama. Okay, sedikit saja twist dalam you punya intervention tu cukup lah. Alright, and then you see mana antara 3 minggu ini yang menghasilkan apa orang kata perbezaan yang lebih signifikan kepada result quiz pelajar. So that is okay dah untuk you write a paper. From there you are going, okay, the first session I do this, this and this, and then the result is the quiz from the pre-quiz, pre-class quiz and the post-class quiz. It was seen that student jadi macam ni. Kemudian in the second week I do this and this and this, and then we can see the quiz result jadi macam ni. And then the third week I do this, this and this. Okay, 3 kaedah biasa, mungkin prosesnya sama tapi ada sedikit twist kat situ, and then you see the result. Ada tak perbezaan antara result quiz tersebut? So itu dah boleh jadi satu research paper. Sebenarnya saya rasa masalah kita adalah untuk mendapatkan topik nak buat paper. Tetapi sebenarnya the research paper, alright, can be datang daripada kelas kita sendiri. Kita dah expert dalam kita punya content, tetapi kita can help student to learn, then that is also one of the expertise yang kita kena cater sebenarnya. Alright, so action research is about your teaching and learning. Whatever your expertise are and whoever you are teaching. So mungkin bukan student you, mungkin juga you nak mengajar orang lain and so on. Yang itu juga boleh jadi action research. Okay, so inilah yang kita buat tadi ya. Kita tadi tu, the process is identify your problems, selecting a focus. Okay, apa yang saya nak buat? So you fikir sendiri, and then research questions. Okay, soalan dia adalah menyelesaikan masalah ini. Contohnya, identify your research questions, and then you collect your data. Okay, you analyze your data, you report your result, and then taking informed with action. Okay, maksudnya kalau you dah buat 3 minggu tadi tu, you rasa macam okay, the third one barulah you nampak perbezaan daripada achievement of the student. So you akan cakap, okay, setelah saya nampak perbezaan ini minggu keempat, apa yang saya buat, saya tengok result quiz itu minggu ketiga adalah yang paling efektif sekali, di mana 50% of the class dapat markah pre and post dia naik 50%. So minggu keempat mungkin saya akan nak guna kaedah yang sama untuk topik yang lain, nak tengok betulkah kaedah itu yang sebenarnya menyebabkan markah quiz student saya naik. Okay, so bila you dah buat ni semua, okay, baru bila time reporting result tu you are going to go back to a certain theory. Jadi pergi tengok, okay, saya tadi buat active learning for example dalam kelas saya, di mana student perlu do some whatever experiment and so on. So you pergi cari pula dalam internet, okay, active learning theory. Jadi tengoklah apa orang kata tentang active learning and so on. Ataupun masa you plan identify your research question pun you nak cari dah, okay, apa teori yang ada kaitan dengan perkara ini. So and then you boleh masukkan the theory dalam you punya penulisan artikel nanti. So sebenarnya ia bermula sama je macam research lain. Okay, it start with the usual identifying problems and so on. However, the data collection process is different. Sebabnya you are the researcher, you duduk dalam kelas, katalah you team teaching with your other friends, you can ask your friend to be with you to observe, okay, and then to collect data, you can also reflect and so on. So the data collection process is different, okay. So this is actually the most important thing when you collect the data is the triangulation process. Apa tu triangulation process? Ingat tadi saya sebut observation, you observe kan? And then you katalah you buat test. Okay, you see the pre-test and post-test. So adakah when you observe itu data you triangulate pula dengan satu. You ada for example satu, you observe, kedua you ambil data daripada your test tadi, kemudian ketiga you ambil data daripada for example you buat discussion ke apa, data daripada discussion. Okay. So tiga-tiga ini you triangulate supaya utilization menyokong tak result student dalam quiz, dan menyokong juga daripada document analysis whatever lah. Okay, dari data itulah yang you terhasilnya you punya result dalam you punya classroom teaching itu. So it can be done alone or with co-teachers or your co-tutor. Alright, and then each students or activity will contribute to some form of data. Ingat tadi saya cakap, walaupun you buat sedikit saja twist dalam you punya classroom teaching tu, tapi ia will contribute to some form of data for you, ya. Jadi when you analyze the data nanti, okay, ingat dari awal tadi saya pesan, masa plan dah tulis, masa observe you tulis, semasa you buat action you tulis dan sebagainya. Jadi what is the story? Yang ni kena tulis macam cerita lah sikit. What is the story told by this data? Okay. What did the story play itself out this way? Okay, jadi you kena imagine balik. Yang ni kena visualize, kena imagine apa yang you dah buat dalam kelas tersebut. Contohnya 3 minggu, 3 cycles. So, apa yang dapat diceritakan from this data? What happened? Okay, semua itu ditulis. Compare to kalau kita buat research biasa, kita akan semuanya based on the data yang ada di depan mata. Tetapi di depan mata maksudnya yang terhasil daripada kita punya eksperimen and so on lah, daripada research tersebut. Tapi kalau action research, it includes also your observation daripada kita sebagai seorang pendidik, sebagai seorang lecturer. What did we see semasa kita buat kajian tersebut? Okay, contohnya you would like to see seorang pelajar ni selalu je tidur dalam kelas. So setelah kita buat intervention ini, adakah dia akan tidur lagi dalam kelas, for example? Just observe one student, macam tu. Alright? And then when you report the result, yes, you can actually publish in various conferences and journal article. Okay, and usually we don't need grants to do action research, kecuali kalau nak publish nanti mungkinlah perlu 1,000 ke 2,000 ke 3,000 untuk publish lah, depends on the journal lah. Tapi biasanya kalau tak tahu dalam my area, kalau ISI for example, dia kata tak payah bayar, tetapi it won't be an open macam tu lah, dia ada syarat-syarat dia lah, so depends lah. Jadi mungkin you boleh tengok lah macam mana you nak publish. However, we don't need big research grant. We usually need, hundred thousands of research grant untuk yang very extensive. Mungkin you nak beli bahan, whatever, untuk your kajian and so on. Tapi yang ini, you might not need duit banyak, okay, untuk beli bahan dan sebagainya. Just simple things. Mungkin lah you kena beli app sikit kot, berharga subscription setahun, 50 100 something ringgit and so on. Itu sajalah yang mungkin you perlu. Tapi beyond that, mungkinlah tidak sebanyak research biasa. Okay. So, sebelum kita nak habis dah ni, saya nak you pergi ke Padlet, https://padlet.com Azidah Ziden /UPM. Okay, you pergi ke sini. Okay, yang ni. Alright. Saya pergi ke situ sekejap. Mari kita brainstorm. Sajalah hari ni saya just nak, I would like you all to brainstorm what kind of action research can you do in your own classroom. So this is the one. Dekat sini you just klik siapa-siapa, saya assume that semua orang dah biasa guna Padlet, so you just click the pink pencil sini. Dia akan muncul this one. So write your name here. Okay. And then write something here. Fikirkan dalam masa 2-3 minit lah kan. Imagine you are teaching in your class. Okay. You are teaching in your class. And then so I just update. Cuba fikirkan apa yang you dah pernah you boleh buat. Okay, just simple things. Sebab action research is very simple. Jangan fikirkan selalu complicated. Sesuatu yang you tak pernah buat mungkin, or for example, what you are doing, you have been doing actually during this pandemic COVID-19, you sebelum ni you tak pernah mengajar kelas online. Tiba-tiba sekarang you kena mengajar kelas online. So, what can you do in your class? Okay, Dr. Musa padam pula. Alright, so fikir 1-2 minit untuk kita sama-sama fikirkan apakah yang boleh dilakukan dalam kelas kita sendiri. Okay, saya bagi 1-2 minit untuk berfikir. Saya mute slide. Okay, we have 4. Okay, Dr. Dayang dengan Dr. Liana mention about use of breakout rooms for consultation alternative for design portfolio. Sama juga Dr. Liana use Zoom breakout rooms. Okay, so mungkin kalau saya tengok Dr. Liana punya, when we see Dr. Liana's one, she has discussion, team challenge and collaboration. Okay, so what I suggest is kalau you ada macam ni kan, discussion, team challenge and collaboration, you can make it as 3 cycles, whereby bila 3 cycles, first you are going to have the first session, you just do a normal discussion. Okay, jadi mungkin this week you are going to look at discussion, normal discussion. You give them apa orang kata, topic or activity, and then they discuss. Then next week maybe you give them team challenge, and then mungkin the other week you give them collaboration, and then mungkin the 4th week you just give them some individual activity. Tak payah breakout rooms, tetapi you give them individual activity so that you can see the difference between each of that particular activities. Okay, bila you tengok different activities tu, apa yang student buat, setiap kali ada activity tu, either you record. Okay, tapi I suggest you record and then you take notes. Sebabnya kenapa kita ni nak cari masa untuk nak tulis nanti tu susah. Okay, jadi kalau you kumpul, lepas tu kemudian you nak tengok recording semua-semua, agak sukar. So why not during the breakout session, you pergi berjalan di alam maya lah. Dari satu room and ke satu room, you tengok what happened and so on, you observe and you write. Okay. And then sama jugalah macam Dr. Dayang punya use of breakout rooms for consultation alternative for design portfolio. So how do they design portfolio tu? The process mungkin juga can be different between different breakout rooms. Jadi kalau you katalah you ada different design portfolio, different kaedah lah, different methods for designing portfolio. Why not setiap breakout rooms tu diberi different methods. Jadi group A buat this type, group B buat this type, group C buat this type. Tapi simple sajalah sebab kita akan ambil satu masa kelas saja. So, jadi tengok mana yang lebih efektif dan sebagainya. Alright. Kemudian Dr. Musab, in my safety course, I can share more case studies using chemical safety storyboard safety video which have some simulation of process incident case study as compared to written case study. Do reflection the two approaches and see their learning improvement based on the connectivism theory. Maybe yes, good idea Dr. Musab, meaning that you have 2 different way of teaching and then you compare those 2. Okay, and then satu guna story safety board video, and then satu mungkin ada simulation, satu mungkin video biasa, satu yang lebih simulation, and then do reflection on those 2, and then maybe you can do simple assessment on student punya, when satu bila dia belajar guna video biasa, satu mungkin simulation based and so on, and then you include the constructivist theory, then the result is there. Okay. Then Dr. Ramiza said effective of group presentation to the whole class, and then effective of group discussion, effectiveness of discussion online, example using Padlet. Yes. Okay. Maybe you can actually discuss in Zoom, for example. Then yang Zoom maybe synchronous. Then during asynchronous class, mungkin this week you do synchronous class. Next week you do asynchronous class. Then you can see during asynchronous you use Padlet. Okay, whether the content that they discuss during synchronous can be maksudnya apa beza je lah. Okay, bila dia discuss kat Padlet lagi bagus ke? Dia discuss dekat dalam breakout session lebih bagus ke? Ataupun dalam satu session saja? Macam mana? So, you know, that is actually what you can do. Whatever you write here actually can be done in your classroom. Then you can write and actually even yang Dr. Liana buat ni, discussion, team challenge and so on, buat different breakout rooms and so on macam tu, yang itu sebenarnya boleh masuk pertandingan inovasi, boleh masuk, just you write it properly, visualize it properly, tulis apa you punya plan, you punya action, you punya reflection, okay, and then yang itu semua boleh masuk dalam jurnal as well as pertandingan inovasi. So senang sebenarnya, ianya boleh dijalankan, ianya bukanlah senang sangat tetapi at least it is doable in short time. Contohnya you tak cukup publication, contohlah kan, boleh dibuat dalam jangka masa yang cepat, dalam masa sebulan you dah boleh ada result, you dah ada boleh ada comparison semua-semua, dan you boleh publish the paper. Ingat, bila starting when you plan, you start to write everything that you want to be included in your paper. Okay, so I just go on. Jadi saya pun dah nak sampai ke slide yang 2 slide yang akhir. Jadi sebenarnya even kalau katalah you are having curriculum review in your faculty, you can also do action research. It is actually action planning. Alright, so that actually macam-macam you boleh buat. Contohnya you buat academic curriculum review in your faculty, tengok dulu macam mana sekarang ni nak ubah jadi macam mana dah lah. Kalau sekarang ni kita kena ada IR 4.0 punya integration, so what types of IR 4.0 integration, yang itu juga you boleh buat action research sebenarnya. And then so why do action research? Kenapa you all buat action research ni? Sebab you can engage yourself as individual teacher, individual lecturer. Okay, you can actually engage your colleague, sama-sama team teaching and so on. And then you can also share, okay, a common concern in your entire faculty. So jadi we are building a reflective practitioner. Kita reflect. Sebenarnya apa yang kita buat dalam kelas, apa yang berlaku dan apa yang kita boleh ubah. Okay, and then kita boleh fikir, okay, apa sebenarnya yang penting dalam kita punya bidang ini, apa yang kita boleh buat dan sebagainya, dan it also build professional culture. Alright, and then what action research now, okay, you selalu saya pesan kepada lecturer USM lah, sebab saya duk bagi training kepada all the USM lecturers, you know, outside as USM macam ni lah. Okay, so kita mungkin pakar dalam bidang kita, you are experts in your chemical and environmental studies, okay, engineering and so on, tetapi sometimes you are not professional in teaching. Biasanya kita mengajar ikut apa yang lecturer kita dulu ajar. Okay, kalau dia mengajar macam tu, kita selalu terbayang-bayangkan, oh, okay, dulu prof dulu tu mengajar macam tu, so this is how I'm going to teach. Okay, kalau kita ubah pun, kita ubah sikit-sikit. Kita tak drastically change. Okay, saya dulu masa mula-mula saya ubah saya punya teaching to blended dia, masa orang belum start blended learning, I start blended learning, and my dekan, my mantan dekan told me, Azidah, you nak buat macam ni, you nak buat Zoom class semua ni, you malas nak masuk kelas je. Dia kata, you malas nak duduk kat rumah je, tak nak buat kelas. Okay, so it was, saya marah juga lah masa tu, tetapi I go on, sekarang ni dulu bisu yang dulu kalau apa-apa dia kata okay, nak tahu apa-apa tanya Dr. Azidah. Okay, dia dah buat, tak ada masalah pun tak pergi buat kerja dekat rumah, buat kelas dari rumah, saya tak ada masalah. Itu Dr. Asma dulu cakap, dan sekarang ni pun visi baru pun sama juga. Tak ada masalah dah, dan bila pandemik macam ni, ianya menjadi satu budaya dah sekarang. So, jadi kita juga nak enhance our motivation lah sebagai pensyarah kan. Lama-lama bosan tau mengajar dalam kaedah yang sama, tetapi kita tak nampak apakah, sebab we are teaching in a research university. Sometimes kita tidak integrate the teaching and research. Research is research, teaching is teaching. Sebenarnya kedua-duanya boleh diintegrate dan ianya boleh increase the motivation lah. Okay, untuk kita dan untuk our colleague. Alright, so I think that's it lah for today. Alhamdulillah on time. Alright, so ada apa-apa soalan tak sebelum saya akhiri presentation pada hari ini? Okay? Tak ada? Tak ada soalan? Kalau tak ada soalan, saya ucapkan terima kasih kepada semua kerana 2 jam bersama saya dan mendengar kongsian saya pada hari ini. I hope that you can start with your action research. Minggu ni pun dah boleh start. Okay, this week you can start if you have class this week, and then you can start next week, and then week after next week. Then at the end of the semester, you will be able to produce the paper dah pun. Okay, and then insyaAllah early next year you can produce a paper. Alright, dah tak adalah nak menunggu so long to produce an article, journal article for citation index. Selalunya I think that the most worrying is that boleh ke whatever we do in class, the materials and so on, simple infographic that you produce in class or simple video that you use in class can be actually transformed into research material. Okay, alright. Okay, sama-sama Dr. Ramizah, sama-sama Dr. Musa. So I give the floor back to Dr. Nik Liana.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Azidah. Finally, we come to the end of our session, our academic selling session. We would like to thanks again for Associate Prof. Dr. Azidah Ziden for the informative and interesting session. Hopefully, this session will be beneficial for everybody. Okay, let's end our session with Tasbih Kafadah and Suratul As.
Sama-sama Dr. Dayang.
Thank you for your attention. Till we meet again in the next session.
InsyaAllah.
Jangan lupa bagi apa nama tu? Borang tu.
Borang. Ya, nanti